Well, number one, come on, what? King Comedian's Celebrity Gossip.
Down the rabbit hole. Oh my gosh. I really check out Down the rabbit hole. I mean, just the research, how fast, they are. A lot of times down the rabbit hole, sometimes it's running circles around me.
Investigative YouTuber. Serving all the receipts.
Ooh, good morning, afternoon, and night, depending on what side of the world. Thank you, Cash, for the 449. Thank you. Yes, justice for all. It seems like there's just so much going around this world overall. So shout out to everybody that's joining us. I got my Coke and I got coffee and I got water. I'm ready. Are you guys ready? I don't know if you're ready like I'm ready, but I'm ready. Okay, I wanted to get going. Let me see how the chat is looking like. Oh, why am I repeating myself? Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I had another tab open. Yes. I'm seeing everybody in the chat getting in here. Thank you guys. All right, let me just say hello to everybody. Hey, Miss Daly, how are you? Yes, if you guys can see, there's a trigger warning right here on the bottom. You also have who else is in the chat? JJ is here as well. Hey, how are you? Real Beauty, Daisy, my member. Shout out to you. Oh my God, Bossy, shout out to you. Susu, thank you for the message. I saw it and I meant to respond back to you. Thank you guys. And you guys want to hit me up, you can hit me up on IG Messenger. If I don't respond right away, don't think that I'm ignoring you or anything. Sometimes I just get so many at a time and I have to kind of figure out what I need to look at first and everything, especially as it pertains to information. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. A couple things. I put the because I was asked a lot and I need to do a better job about this. My membership link is in the description box. It's also pinned in the chat right now. So if anybody wants to join, hey, Notorious, how are you, my friend? Shout out to everybody that's coming in, friends and members. Hey, Carol, welcome, Cloud. So thank you. New follower, welcome, Brandy. Welcome. Oh, Baby Bunny, shout out to the members. If you're a member, you get to meet Baby Bunny. Okay, you get to see a little bit of Baby Bunny in there. You just get to meet Baby Bunny. She is the channel CEO. Okay, which means that I'm just an employee. She's the one that runs it, the show at the end of the day, right? If she wants me off, I got to get off. I got to go tend to her, right? That's just how it is. Baby Bunny runs the show. And so if you're a member, you have Baby Bunny CEO little stickers on your little sticker thing. Welcome, guys. Louisiana, Melissa, Celia. Hope you guys are doing well. Deborah, Angie, welcome. Angie. Shout out to everybody. Everybody's coming in. Magic. Welcome, Jingles, Gail from Iceland. All right, everybody's gonna tell me where they're at. Shout out to everybody. Strike Blitz, welcome, thank you. I Hate Peas is here as well. Good morning from California. Okay, Susu, Mimi, just want to make sure I say hi to everybody. Magic, I said hello to you. Whew, it's a lot, yo. Hey, Mommy, shout out to you. Hey, Mandy, welcome. Yo, thank you guys. Yes. Our little ones always run the show. They do. That's just how it is. And if your kids aren't like making noise in the background, I'd be concerned. Just saying. I'd be concerned, especially if they're infant and they don't make noise in the background. I'd be very concerned. But yeah, hey Brenda, welcome, and shout out to everybody on Facebook. If you're joining us from Facebook, hey La Borica Bonita, welcome, Cloud, Texas. All right, let's get going. Okay, I put the link to anybody who wants to come in. You don't have to show your face. I have a banner. It looks like this. It's actually my thumbnail for the channel for today's live. It's like this, okay? If you want to come up and give some commentary to the situation, that'd be awesome. I'd love to hear from everybody because everybody, I did a poll. I literally did it, I think, this morning, and I got over 500 votes on this poll. And specifically, let me stop sharing real quick. I'm going to share with you guys what I'm talking about. This one right here. I did a little poll, and I'm trying to be very careful what I scroll to because I try not to show member stuff, but the Idaho murders, in your opinion, was the killer known to the students? 572 said yes. Okay. 572 said yes, the killer was known to students. And I sat there and I said, and you hear a lot of channels, everybody, and I want to shout out Ikmel because you already know Ikmel, he gets in the deep in the mud. He's going in there and checking stuff, right? And I want to shout out a couple others too. Is it True Crime Grizzly is another one as well. That was kind of going into this. I had said this before. I think it was maybe on Friday on my first live about this. I said, I have a feeling, because some of this just gave me Ted Bundy vibes, right? And I had to sit back and I said, well, okay, Rabbit, and let me tell you guys a little bit about myself. I have an undergraduate in criminology, okay? Behavioral science is my undergraduate. I also have a minor in social science. My graduate degree is in social work, okay? But I also have some other studies and certificates, right? So I know a little bit of a little bit of everything in terms of criminology, criminal justice, and the law, but also my biggest passion is trying to understand human behavior as it is, right? So I was thinking, I said, I know something about serial killers as a criminology student would. You got to pay attention to pattern of behavior, and you got to pay attention to the occurrence of the crime. You got to pay attention to how often, as a behavioral analyst, would sit there and try to piece together. Now, we're not there. A lot of us aren't there piecing things together. We're out here, right? But then you think about the weapon, which is what they said it was like a Rambo-like knife, like a Rambo-like knife. You think about the fact that these students were at different locations and then winded up in the same location, which is where they went to sleep. And some say that they woke up. One had defensive wounds and the other ones didn't. There were different locations where the bodies were located, and two of those students were not harmed. And I sat there and I said, I can't say, and we can't say that this is a serial killer. We can't. I definitely understand the stance of a crime of passion or something to the effect of a one-time occurrence that happened. But now you have another conference that is scheduled on Wednesday, another conference that's scheduled on Wednesday. And I would like to think that this is because they're trying to get ahead. Students are coming back. They want to know what's up. Like, they don't want to lose their students to this situation. You need to make the community safe. These are factors that you have to account. But I can't help but wonder, the weapon isn't something that's accessible to everybody unless you're hunting. Somebody sent me, I think it was Valerie, shout out to Valerie, send me this link about them skinning animals. Somebody was skinning animals and they think that there might be a connection there. We don't know if that's the case. We don't know, because you also have a dog that was not hurt while this was going down. Are you in criminology? Look at this. You leafy lover Liz, you already know how criminology is. You got to go by behavior, pattern. You use a little bit of the DSM. You try to kind of analyze a little bit of that to bring that in. You have to understand the different moving pieces. But one thing I can't understand, okay, why those targets and not the others? I hate to say it that way, right? Because I don't want the others, to have been victims. But I can understand if somebody goes to a movie theater, right, and they just start shooting up the place. I get that. It's almost like they don't care who gets hit. It's a massacre. It's going to happen to everybody. Ooh, I don't know why I'm getting a call. But it makes you kind of wonder why these targets, why that weapon, and why that time of day. Those are things that you have to kind of understand a little bit more before you can say here's a serial killer. Because Bundy, it could very well be that somebody planned this and they used that tactic of breaking into somebody's home. Who else? The Nightcrawler was another one. Richard Ramirez was another one from LA. You had Resendes, the one that would attack from the train stations. He was the one that would attack people that were just walking near the train tracks. It was a very dangerous time around that time. He died. I think it was a death penalty. You had very certain ways in which people would attack. And those are tactics and things that you have to piece together and figure out, what does the data tell you about this, right? So I did the poll, and shout out to everybody that voted. The Idaho murders, in your opinion, was the killer known to the students? 572 said voted, and 89% said yes. 11% said no. I don't know if that was, I was kind of curious to know why people were saying no. I don't know. But I'm kind of curious. I don't know if this was just something random. And then your comments. Brandy says, I think some or one was a target. Some heard it and they became collateral damage, and the others are just lucky they did not react when hearing things. A serial killer, I don't think, would leave anyone behind. Just my opinion, though. At this point, really, it could be anyone for any reason. I think at the very least, it was some who knew the house, someone who has been inside before. The crime scene, we're told, was a mess. Was a mess. Golden State Killer, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The crime scene was a mess. Danielle Rolling, the drifter that killed 5 University of Florida students over 4 days span back in the 90s. It happens. It happens. So I think that the police right now is trying to figure out, they're trying to ID. And I honestly think that serial killer has been ruled out. And I don't want to be given misinformation about it. So that's why I came back and I said, let me pull some text or something to give the people some information. I don't think it's a serial killer. I think this was an isolated incident. And I hate to say isolated, it was a specific targeted crime. They were going after someone. And like Brandy said right there, my friend, my subby, I think she's got a point. Everybody became collateral damages. That's how I see it. I don't think that this was a serial killer. However, they said that they can't verify whether the community is safe or not. That doesn't help at all the situation. Okay, it really doesn't. I mean, I would imagine it leaves everybody leaving some type of way. Cash says, yes, then no, then no, then yes. Oh my gosh, Cash, shout out to you. And I just don't know. Hence, Rabbit, I got you. Laura says, I think the killer was in the house before the 6 came home. The killer or killers, if it was targeted, could have already been in the home. I didn't even think of that one. Shout out to Laura who said that. I don't know, yo. Could they have been in the house already? Maybe they were waiting. It was the roommates. Here's High Five Innovations. Now, wait a minute. High Five says it was the roommates. 4 people dead with the defensive marks. Didn't hear a word. BS. So people are saying that it was the roommates. You know what? Right now, I'm going to go with what police have said. Police have said that there's a mess in the crime scene. They have a lot. So I have a feeling if they're over here with the Rambo looking knife and they did what they did, they're going to leave some DNA. Something's got to be left there. Something was left there. I definitely think it was a male as well. I hate to say it, but data shows us that typically things like this can be blend. We just don't have we do have women serial killers. Let me just say that. We do have women serial killers, but something like this is a little bit different. And if it's not a serial killer, it definitely seems very targeted towards these individuals. The question is why? Why? It's Susu. That's a great question. Stabbings are very personal. Very personal type of crime. Bellsworth's definitely possible. I think Crystal says, I think so, but I'm still catching up. So sad. No doubt. Some of the top retired cops were saying on the news last night that the Idaho cops really dropped the ball. Valerie said, no doubt. Some of the top retired cops were saying in the news last night that the Idaho cops really dropped the ball. On what? Ooh, Valerie, you got to let me know what you mean. Sean says, just because they said guy from food truck has been ruled out doesn't in fact mean that the cops lie. That doesn't in fact mean that. Cops lie all the time. And if he was really a suspect, they aren't going to tell everybody. Not going to lie, they seem like they're completely lost and don't have an idea what the fuck's going on. You know what, Sean? And maybe they're, I don't know, yo. I don't know. Don't tell me till the people says, did they rule out the guy that was following them? I found that to be interesting. They did. They called him Hoodie, the white hoodie guy. Then you got like, what is it? Three other guys named, my God, I almost said Jared, but it's not Jared. It's Jake. I think it's three Jakes and one Jared. Damn these Jared names, yo, and Jake names. And I'm like, we got to do better. We got to do better. They did rule him out though. I don't know. Eh, it's a lot. Okay, and let's keep going. Who else? Let's see these comments. I just want to make sure your voice is heard. Kathy says, well, if all three Jacks and one Jake, so it's not Jared. See these J names are killing me, yo. Three Jacks and one J, three Jacks and one Jake have nothing to do with this, including the one who has a knife, then they need to sort it out there for the serial killers on the loose. And apparently one who is some kind of assassin that is horrifying. Did you watch? I did watch Ikmel. Shout out to Ikmel. What he showed of other similar murders and animal slayings, all in 8 hours. And they sound connected, which means there's potential bodies everywhere. Could be. And that's just speculation. And Leona says, I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate either because this is such a tough subject, right? For the person who said to make an entry into their home, to me, yes, they knew them. They could have already been in the house. I was thinking that too. I said, maybe if this was a targeted attack, most definitely could have already been there. They could have already been waiting for them. Again, my speculation, my thought, I don't know. Jack is a serious millennial named Brenda. Bella says, if someone has done these acts prior, they would know how to cover their tracks, dispose of the weapon, leave no trace of DNA. Just thought, you're right. You're right. I definitely don't see the hoodie guy being the killer. Definitely wouldn't be hanging out on the camera and talking with the fellow students so casually. Yeah, that would be a stupid move to make, right? Definitely. It's definitely frustrating. The ex-boyfriend who had an amicable split but got dog. Think OCD. Am I? You know what, Cash? And I was thinking about that too because I heard the parents defend the ex-boyfriend. Definitely was like, you know what? To me, everybody's suspect. Everybody's suspect at this point. Best friend, no friend. I mean, there's just been so many crimes happening all over. You can't not be suspicious of everyone. Even the priests. You be suspect them all. That's just how I feel. It's no shade. I'm sure they're very nice people, but you have to be suspicious of everything. And that knife, where did that knife come from? It's a very specific type of knife. Very specific type of knife. Good point. Yeah, the bind, torture, and kill, work from home, and no alarm. Yep. Everybody is a suspect, yo. Everybody. Everybody should be treated as such. I know that these, they're very close to the ex-boyfriend. I'm sorry, yo. I just don't trust anybody. Everybody's suspect. This is my child. That's just how I feel personally. I don't care if they dated or if they got back together. We just don't know. It definitely does feel some type of way about this, especially because it feels targeted. And shout out to Ikmail too, because he talked about, hey Nanya, hey Denise, welcome guys, everybody on Facebook. Shout out to everybody from Facebook. He talked about what looked to be blood from the foundation. It was said that wasn't blood, that it actually looks like oil from that area. I don't know. I'm not an expert on blood splatter. I'm letting you guys know. A blood splatter is not my thing. I didn't do forensics that way. But I did find that to be very interesting overall. Now, okay, here's my question to everybody. We have another conference coming up on Wednesday. We have another one, right? What do you guys think? Why do you guys think we're having so many conferences? And yet not enough information, in my opinion, because even now, it seems a little off to me as far as all this information that's coming about, and not enough information to really make something, you know? So I did pull, and just to kind of nail this a little bit more, I pulled the FBI serial killer definition. They had a huge meeting. This was maybe a couple years ago, where they sit there and they bring all these experts from around the world, and they talk about the psychopathy of a serial murder and what are some of the things to pay attention to as it pertains to serial murders. And because they're the experts, I'm going to default to that, right? But one thing we have to know, and this is all highlighted there, and I'll make sure I leave this publication in the description box, but it says serial killers differ in many ways, including their motivations for killing and their behavior at the crime scene. However, attendees did identify certain traits common to some serial murderers, including sensation seeking, a lack of remorse or guilt, impulsivity, and the need for control and predatory behavior. These traits and behaviors are consistent with the psychopathy personality disorder, or psychopathic personality disorder, excuse me. Attendees felt it was very important for law enforcement and others professionals in the criminal justice system to understand the psychopathy and its relationship to serial murder. I would so it's a very targeted definition. Before we run out saying we have a serial killer, these are things that we would have to understand. In order to understand that, you have to have a pattern of behavior. You have to put things together and note the traits before we even consider that that's what we have going on. You know, just saying. Just saying. What do you guys think about that? And again, I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to give some thoughts. You don't have to show your face. I have a banner that I can actually cover your face with. Let me know, because I felt like maybe people had a lot to say about this. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm kind of curious to know. I don't want to be the only one talking here, but if other people have other thoughts about this, I'm just very curious to know. What do you guys make of all of this? What do you guys make of all of this? Mm-mm. It's a small town, not used to this. Sounds like the conferences are being planned to figure out what is happening. I don't think they know. I don't think they know. I don't think they know. I would have to agree with that. But they do have a crime scene, from my understanding, is a mess. Then they have to go and examine it and pull together and pull fibers and all that other stuff. I don't think they know what's going on. I'm just being honest. I don't know. I would. Oh my God, Brenda, you can always come up. And again, let me drop the link one more time, yo. I definitely want to hear from somebody else, because you guys are saying a lot on these comments. Just let me know, what do you guys think? Do we have something bigger in our hands? Does the police have a handle in this? What do you guys think? I'm curious. Yes, I heard, Combat Drummer. I heard that she had an actual stalker. Yeah, Gary Hughes. Shout out to Mr. Gary Hughes, though. You guys, he's got a great channel. He has a lot of theories. I have a lot of theories too. Okay, but I think that serial killer isn't one of them. I think this was a very targeted crime, and I do think we don't know what the crime scene looks like, but I do think it was a very sloppy crime scene. I'm pretty sure we'll probably get some DNA from there. These are, to me, I have a feeling that we don't know if it was a student. We don't know if it was another adult. There was somebody who was saying that there were sex offenders that were living in the area. These victims weren't, nothing happened to them sexually to say that, this is a targeted sex offender or anything. Not to say that they don't, we just don't know. But there were registered sex offenders in that area. And I always struggle with that, because I feel like I don't want to cause a target to a population that's already struggling as well, because they have to find jobs and they have to they have this offense in their background and period. It's just so much. And it's a college town, and Kaylee's sibling had gone to college there before too. That's what I found out as well. So it's not like a new college town or anything. You think it's students involved? Could be. I don't know, yo. I don't know. But to me, it sounds very targeted. Now, the other thing that occurred to me, I'm just going to say it. We don't know what their social media looks like. Who were they talking to online? Did they meet somebody online? Did one of the girls meet somebody online, or somebody in that group meet somebody online? And, they knew to go in through a sliding door without making. How would you know that the sliding door is open? Opportunity, time. How would you know to go in through there? Or did they walk through the front door? They're saying that the person got in through the sliding door. I don't know. And mind you, this happened in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, everybody, and on a Sunday. Okay. It's very strange. And you know what? I find it very strange that the 911 caller said that there was unconscious people. Did they not see all the blood? What does that even mean? Unconscious people. I heard. We just talked about it, but the officers didn't talk about that at the press conference. That's what was very interesting to me. And let me go ahead, excuse me, what that looks like. You know what? And that's a good point too, because the sliding door can be somebody's front door as well. These are a bunch of young kids who, I don't know if you guys have ever been 25, 20, in your 20, 21, 20, living on your own. You got your own place. You already know parents aren't regulating. Your laundry's in your kitchen. TMI. My laundry was in my kitchen. Sometimes I did laundry. Sometimes I didn't. Who the fuck is going to regulate my house? This is my house. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying rent and I feel like I own the world in my 20s, right? No regulation. No, who's going to tell me to lock the doors? I didn't lock the doors. I had my home broken into. Well, my apartment at the time when I was in my 20s, broken into. Nobody told me what to do. Right? So I just thinking about just all of that. Now, I remember the parents saying that, I think it was Kaylee, who was such a sleuth. Like, she was very careful about things like this. Yeah, but sometimes you let your guard down. This shit does happen, even with adults. Even with adults. Patty, hey, welcome, Patty. Patty's my member. She says, I think the purpose is going to be an antisocial, with no one that's. You don't think anybody's ever heard of them? I'm kind of curious. Right. Bottom level. I mean, if the FBI is involved, I'm kind of curious to know. The bottom level is the back, and that's where the parking lot is, right? I saw that. It's a pretty big house. It's definitely, and I heard it's a party house. Pretty big party house. Let me go ahead and play this so we can give some commentary. The link is there if anybody wants to come up and have some thoughts on this. You guys let me know, but let's watch this.
Has continued to shake our community, and we continue to mourn for the victims. We will continue to vigorously pursue the investigation and pursue justice in this case. It is a complex and terrible crime, and it will take some time to resolve. Today, we want to clarify what we know and where we're at in this investigation. Our primary goal is public safety and to get a completion of this case and bring someone to justice. We continue to dedicate all the resources to this investigation. We've had 646 tips received, and all will be processed, vetted, investigated, and cleared. We've done over 90 interviews in this case so far, and the Moscow Police Department is utilizing the assistance from the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and Latah County Sheriff's Office. The personnel that has been assigned to this from the Moscow Police Department is 4 detectives, 24 officers, and 5 support staff. Federal Bureau of Investigators, we have 22 investigators in Moscow, 20 additional are assigned and located in the Treasure Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia.
Are you guys listening to how much people was actually assigned to this? I know they aired this yesterday and I was like, I'm going to go, but I needed to listen to it to allow it to, because they got a lot of people on this. They're really wanting to catch who did this. And this is what makes me wonder is it the unknown? Do we expect another target? Have police, and I'm sure that they did, put things together, right? To figure out where, were there other patterns of crime like this in other small communities, college communities, towns? I'm curious to know. Yes, and shout out to 10 to Live. That's another great channel.
We have 2 behavior analysis individuals from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For the Idaho State Police, we have 20 investigators, a public information officer, ISP forensic services, and a crime scene team. We have 15 uniformed troopers to assist our community to help provide the additional resources for our patrols. Detectives are looking to develop any content that would help us in this event. Anyone who has observed any notable behavior or has any video surveillance or can provide relevant information about these murders, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. Or you can email the tip line and that is tipline@ci.moscow.id.us. At this time, I would like to introduce Captain Lanier to give you some additional information.
Good afternoon. My name is Roger Lanier. I'm a captain over the Operations Division for the Moscow Police Department. My last name is spelled Lanier. I just want to first state that this tragic murder has shaken the community. It's been very hard for members of the community, and it's been equally difficult for our officers and for the investigators. We will continue to put all of our resources towards investigating and bringing this to a resolution. Here's what we've determined so far. On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogen were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived.
Thank you, Lori, for joining. Thank you. I wanted to point something out. Somebody said it here. Shout out to the Glare. He's in the chat, but he says, why West Virginia? It is on the other side of the country. True. But here's the other thing that I wanted to point out, right? Look at patterns of behavior, right? If this was a targeted attack, why at 3 a.m? Everybody's sleeping. Maybe they drank, maybe they didn't. We really don't know, right? They were drinking, okay? Imagine how vulnerable you are when you sleep. I think that was the biggest thing that stood out to me as well. How vulnerable are you when you sleep? You're not going to fight back. You're sleeping. Some might have defense wounds, but still.
Arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning. On the morning of November 13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch Center reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as a homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. Investigators have determined 2 areas of interest within the city and have
No sign of sexual assault. That's what they said, right? So as far as the registered sex offenders and looking into that, I kind of was like, well, I don't know if that's where I would pay attention to personally, but hey, I don't want to rule anything out.
have provided maps which are on our Facebook page and on our website. And these are areas that they have canvassed for additional surveillance video and tips and have contacted several residents in the areas. The areas are generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and west of Highway 95. Detectives have also canvassed several other neighborhoods looking for evidence, looking for additional surveillance video, and contacting residents and speaking to them to see if they may have heard or seen something. I want to address several areas of speculation, conjecture, and misinformation that has circulated on social media platforms and otherwise. We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime.
It's so fun. You know, it's kind of sad. I'm just going to say it. It's so sad and interesting that at this point, law enforcement has to make sure that they correct misinformation that's going on social media, because then you have people that kind of run with that and then harass people and then fuck up a case. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it that way. It's just crazy to me, but it does happen. And now it's standard that police have to add that to their speech.
The 2 surviving roommates. A male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie. A private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th. Additionally, the identity of the 911 caller and the 911 call have not been released. So any information out there is speculation about that. Investigators are aware that multiple phone calls from Madison and Kaylee's phone were made to a male subject. Any online reports stating that the victims had been tied and gagged are not accurate. Detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road and searched those dumpsters in an effort to find additional evidence, but nothing.
Yeah, so the narrative that it was like the bind, torturing, the BTK, that they're saying it's not true. There's just misinformation. So good to pay attention to that, you know?
Nothing of note was discovered. Early in the investigation, local businesses were canvassed in an effort to see if any fixed blade type knives may have recently been purchased. And currently, there are no suspects in custody, and we have not located a weapon. I want to assure you that every investigator involved will continue to put all of their resources and all of our partner agencies' resources into continuing this investigation. We do appreciate the community support. We understand how stressful it is, and we will continue to work through this situation. At this time, I would like to turn the mic over to Colonel Wills from the Idaho State Police.
Thank you, Captain. My name is Kedrick Wills.
Someone asked, Nanya says, here's the thing though, the phone calls were found by the sister who is doing her own investigation, not because the police found it. Nanya, right. And I noticed that too. Like, I'm kind of curious. I also am a little bit worried about if you're finding information, this is just my thing, and we're all working together and we probably give it to law enforcement, but things are being released in media. This is the part that I feel like victims of crime, you know, there is no book of how to act or interact. And especially if you've been let down by law enforcement time and time again. I always worry about this because I feel like you overspeak or you say too much, or maybe you find something that could help law enforcement, right? I don't know if we would have known about the stalker who was it? That one of the victims had it not been released out there. And I don't know if that's like, even that makes us feel a little bit weird too. Somebody sent in here, let me see if I can go back to that comment, because it really, who said it? Somebody said, aren't they going to tell us who called 911? Look what happened to the hoodie guy. And I still, you know, and the releasing of the night, what's the secrecy behind that? I mean, maybe so that, and my thought is like, maybe they won't get harassed. You know, that's why they want it to be secret. The Glare says, notice how he never said the male subject. Oh, who they called had been cleared. Plus, they never say that they don't have a subject. Just no suspect in custody. Let me tell you something. We got to start paying. You know what? Kudos to you, because I didn't even notice that. We got to start paying attention to some of this wording because it says a lot about what is being said and not said. And if you interpret something different than what it really is meant to say, wow. I didn't even notice that. I did not even notice that. Let me see. I don't want to miss any. Kaylee had the stalker, but Claire, I was thinking about this too, and maybe you might have a different opinion, but why release that? Why say that? And not allow law enforcement to have that information. You know what I'm saying? But then again, I'm not the victim of that crime. So I feel some type of way telling a victim how they should or shouldn't act. It's not always what they say, it's what they don't say sometimes. Bingo. Bingo. The only thing that needs to be released are things that could help police fill in the blanks. Anonymous, that's a good point. Very good point. Maybe the 911 caller knows info too, so they are protecting them. Could be. Could be. So pay attention to what they don't say versus what they say. Right? Right? What do you guys think about us knowing that Kaylee had a stalker? I feel some type of way about it, but hey, you know, I don't know.
KEDRICKWILLS, and I serve as a director of the Idaho State Police. And I appreciate your attendance this afternoon as we talk about this horrific crime. The murders of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee are a tragic loss to all of us. Nothing we can do will bring back these young lives, but we have an absolute commitment to working together to solve these senseless murders. And the way that we know how to do that is partnerships. And our partnership with the Moscow Police Department, with the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the University of Idaho to bring this issue to a conclusion and bring this to justice is absolute. We continue with Idaho State Police resources here on the ground in Moscow and throughout Idaho. Whatever the needs are, that's what we want to do. And the chief spoke about the Idaho State Police resources that are here, and he spoke about patrol resources. And we have those uniformed troopers here in Moscow and on the campus of the University of Idaho to help people to feel safe and to provide that security to the people that are here, both in the student body as well as in the community at large. And we will continue to do that as long as is necessary throughout this time. In addition, that's in addition to our forensics team that was here, in addition to our investigative team and all the other state police resources. We know that people want answers. We want answers too. As was already mentioned, this is really, really difficult for those.
Let me ask you guys a question in the chat, okay? Because I'm looking at the comments. Nanya says, I personally think the stalker is a rumor and have no basis at this time, in my opinion. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Is it possible that, because we talked about, is it more than one person? We don't know. Is it possible that there's an idea of who's involved already? Police already know who's involved, and they're maybe trying to clear more information. I'm just, because, you know, police, they're going to do what they got to do, you know? I'm kind of curious to know if they already have an idea and or a profile of the person. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like police already have a profile of this suspect.
Those investigators, those dedicated professionals who are investigating this crime. And a lot of people have expressed their desire to help. And the best thing that most of people can do to help is to stop with any kind of rumors and just seek official information that comes out of the Moscow Police Department. Anything that we have that we can share from a law enforcement perspective, we will be sharing just as soon as we can, because that's how we think that we can get this to conclusion. Please rely on official sources of information, and please be patient. I understand that everybody wishes that this was solved already, but these things take time. It takes time to work through. You heard the stats of all the tips and everything, the interviews and everything that's been done. This takes time for our investigators to work through. So please be patient as we work through this investigation. We owe this to these young kids.
Ooh, yo, all these ones. Yo, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. There's a lot of ones on this chat. It's like a sea of ones. Haley says, I'm curious about how they narrowed down the time of incident between 3 to 4 a.m. What information indicates that? The no more for sure. Ooh, Kaylee, that's such a, you know what, Haley? And that's a good question. What is it? Because that's around the time, between the time frame of when they captured them, between the Uber driver, the capturing of the CTV at the taco food truck stand, okay? Maybe that could very well, or even the phone calls, that could very well be the case. I don't know. But people are saying there's a profile. I think they know who it is and are just trying to collect evidence at this point. You know, I think so too. But if the crime scene is a mess and they just don't want to tell the community that they found information, maybe they're playing it very coy. I don't know, yo. But let me go ahead and keep playing this. And let me tell you, I've watched this conference at least 2 times already. And now that I'm watching it again, it's telling me something different. And I don't know if anybody feels that way. It's almost like don't watch it the first time, watch it a couple times, to get a good sense of it. Right, baby bunny?
To these young adults. We owe it to them. And we are absolutely dedicated to make sure that that happens. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce the University of Idaho President Scott Green.
Scott Green, President, University of Idaho. Last name spelled Green, like the color. First, we continue to extend our heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of the victims. As stated earlier, we want justice and appreciate the increased resources from the Idaho State Police and FBI that have been brought to bear on this crime. We fully appreciate and share the frustration of our students, employees, parents, and community members who continue to push for answers. While we wait for answers in the investigation, we've ramped up our security safety practices and are listening to students and supporting them in any way possible. The University of Idaho's primary focus now is on supporting our students and working to meet their varied needs. The police continue to inform us that they believe this was a targeted attack, but we recognize this is not good enough for some of our students who will want to complete their semester remotely until the person who committed the crime is in custody. We are also hearing that some students want to be back on campus and in Moscow because they gain comfort from the structure of classes and being with their friends and professors. All reactions and feelings are valid, and we all process these tragedies differently. We're asking instructors to plan for both sets of students as we finish the semester. We will be communicating decisions early this week so that families can discuss and plan their individual response over the Thanksgiving break. We learned a lot during COVID, and we have many course delivery options our faculty can deploy to meet student needs. Student and employee safety remain our priority. We have increased security patrols on campus since we were notified of this off-campus incident. We've also benefited from increased Idaho State Police presence on our campus, which we are grateful for. They have been a very visible force, and they will continue this dedicated presence on our campus into the foreseeable future. Importantly, they have also assigned resources to the community since this crime occurred off campus. In addition to the campus-wide precautions being taken, we offer the following safety and security features in our residence halls. We will continue our Safe Walk, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All residence halls are locked 24 hours a day and only accessible by students that live in the building. All guests must be accompanied by a resident of the building. Each residential community has a dedicated resident assistant staff and a live-in full-time resident director to help ensure a safe environment. Every evening, there are resident assistants that are on duty to perform safety and security rounds in their area, including during fall break.
I think some of the stuff that they're saying is standard, but Turn Black Time says Delphi man was cleared years ago. Don't forget. Was he? I mean, was he cleared by the police and then became a suspect again? I don't know. I don't know that information. If anybody knows it, that they've been following the Delphi murders to a T, because I've been reading here in and out, but not a whole lot to say that I'm an expert in or can give commentary to it, to that situation. But I didn't think that they was he cleared for years before they had talked about him? No, he was. I didn't think he was. He was overlooked, but I don't know. I mean, and here's a good question. Maybe this is a data question, right? And by the way, baby bunny's eating these yogurt melts, right, Mama? I'm kind of curious to know, how often does it happen where somebody's cleared of a crime and then they're kind of put back on the map? Do we have any data or information that would kind of show us that, to say that that is very well and could very likely be the case in certain crimes? I mean, how often are people cleared, completely cleared, and then become the murder suspect or the murderer? I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm looking at these comments. I thought he was interviewed, not cleared. I thought he was interviewed. That just because you're interviewed doesn't mean you're cleared, though. I heard about the dog. You know what's so crazy, guys? Even TMZ is covering the story, which I find it so. I thought TMZ was celebrity news, but I guess they're moving their platform to non-celebrity news. It's just weird. I don't know. It's hard for me to take TMZ serious sometimes.
Housing and resident life always has at least 2 full-time staff members that are on call to provide support and emergency response 24 hours a day, including over the fall break. And our Learning Center information desk is Living and Learning Center Information Desk is open 24 hours a day and will be open all of fall break for our students' needs. While we certainly hope there's a swift closure with the arrest of whoever is responsible for this crime, we must also be prepared for all the possibilities, including a lengthy investigation. We must balance safety concerns and the need to grieve, along with the long-term needs of our students and our employees. We're making security our top priority. We are also planning for the very real possibility that some students aren't comfortable returning to campus. We will do our best to meet the needs of all students. Our faculty is working hard over the break to consider alternative delivery methods. We will also continue making counseling services available for all our students and employees as we process our grief. The care and concern for our Vandal family is our primary role, and we take that very seriously. We are a Vandal family.
No. I saw it on TMC. For those who said it wasn't Fox News, no. TMC also reported U of Idaho murders nearby dog skin weeks before students killing. I saw it there too. It's on TMZ. Go to the TMZ IG page. And actually, my subby sent this to me. Shout out to my subby who said, TMZ TV, is this a coincidence? See the dog owner have to say on the link bio. This is what I'm saying. It's like TMZ, I never know if it's real news or fake news with them. And they're talking about some of the stuff they need a different. Are you doing celebrity gossip or are you doing like crime stuff at this point? Because, you know, sometimes it gets a little bit like muddied and people get a little bit like, can you really trust TMZ? Julie says the way the parents said they're wasting their time on Jack. Who is this? The police? It made me think the police may be looking at him more than they let on. As they should. I'm just going to tell you guys, I know that the parents are like, no, Jack loved her, Jack this. Yeah, take it with both of them. Seriously, Cash. Even though they say, Jack, I'm sorry, everybody's suspect. Everybody's suspect. All of them are suspect. At this point, everybody's a suspect to me. This is my child. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just feel some type of way about that. But hey.
I mean, nothing means more to us than family. And I'd also like to just thank all those for the great outpouring of support we've received from the nation. It's been incredible time and all those who stand in solidarity with us, just know it means a great deal to us. Thank you.
So we're going to open it up at this time to about 8 to 10 questions. We ask that only one question is asked per person, please. And I would also like to just see if there's an Argonaut reporter here. I think it's only fair to give our student reporter the first shot.
Speak up if you're in the room, if you're from the Argonaut.
Are you from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Is anybody from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you, Julie, for the super sticker.
Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams, Fox News. You all have said that these killings are targeted. Can you share with us why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any of the victims, were the actual targets of the killings?
As we stated earlier in the previous press release or press conference, we believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation, but
I think they know. Sorry, police chief, you're a pretty bad liar. I think they know. Just the body language kind of tells me that they know who was being targeted. I get the sense that they know. And thank you, MC. You bring up a good point. Lacey Peterson's parents also stood by Scott Peterson. Then they found out different. Exactly. This is why I say I don't care. You know, I have a baby bunny. I have baby rabbits. You know what I'm saying? For me, suspect is suspect, and I'm going to stand by the truth. I might have liked my daughter and my son-in-law, whatever, but I just have to stand by what is going on and cooperate. And if they're really innocent, they're going to do the same, period. They're going to do the same, period. That's that. I don't know. I cannot piece together why, if targeted by someone they know, the perp would allow the other two roommates to live. Carissa, good point. Good point. This is the piece that a lot of us can't really put together. And Magic says, shout out to Magic, when they get to the part that he answers the question, listen carefully. He's not only very careful how he words it, but how the questions are worded too. That's what the Glare had said. Shout out to the Glare. He pointed that out too. It's what he isn't saying. Yeah, good point.
We still believe that, but we, like I said, we take a totality of everything that we're looking at.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here in Moscow. On the resources, do you have the resources that you need?
We do have the resources. It is an incredible outpouring of what we receive from the Idaho State Police and from the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Lake Tahoe County. Anything we ask for is given. So at any time, if we need additional, all I have to do is call the colonel, and he will provide that. He's already guaranteed me that, and I know the FBI has said the same thing.
Hi, I'm Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
The question was the killer the 911 caller? He says, I will tell you no. Wasn't somebody in the home the person that called 911? Out of curiosity, somebody let me know. Claire says he went over the resources and details at the beginning of this. He did. And I kind of skipped over that. The other two roommates were on the floor below the sliding entry. Kaylee's room was on the floor above the entrance. Take that how you want it. But Tend to Life has, yeah, she really does. Shout out to Tend to Life as well. Keep listening. Breadcrumbs. It was somebody in the home, right? Let's keep listening, okay?
On the roommate's phone, but you didn't say the roommate made the call. So did the roommate make a call on the roommate's phone, or can you verify it's another individual call?
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. And so what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call it's part of our investigation still. And when we get ready to release that, we will.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
The person that was inside the home that called 911 that was not one of the roommates. Can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
I believe somebody.
It was used with the roommate's phone, but it was. See what I'm saying? Thank you. Gregory says the killer could have written something in blood on the wall concerning the targeted victim, or stabbed her more times and more viciously. I mean, there's a lot that could have happened, right? A lot that could have been done, speculated. It's a lot. And we don't know because we're not in the crime scene, We don't know. But you guys see what he did right there? Did y'all see what he did right there? It's just a little interesting. Mel just dropped a video. Awesome. Well, we'll be done here pretty soon, so everybody can head out over there. But let me go ahead and keep watching. Let's hit play.
But he asked if that was the killer, and you said no.
No, that's correct. So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but you used the roommate's phone. So was there someone else at the home other than those two roommates?
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
How many? Everybody made a call.
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount, and that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an intersection? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
Did you look in Washington at all, I guess, for?
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take 2 more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues of that investigation. I cannot disclose.
That being said, though, okay, let me ask you guys, do you guys think it was more than one person? More than one person. Claire says that the friends came over and 911 was call was placed with the roommate phone, but multiple people spoke with the 911 dispatcher. And I wonder if they're going to release that 911 call at some point. I really do hope that they do. But I'm kind of curious to know. It's a lot, yo. You guys are going in on these comments. Oh my gosh, no. Do you guys think it was more than one person? Drop a 1 in the chat if you feel like it was more than one person, put a 2. Put a 2 in the chat if you feel like it was more than one person who committed this. Put a 2 in the chat. Teresa says, I think the reason the girls were calling Jack was because they were concerned about being allowed or being, followed or someone lurking outside their house. Oh, you guys are saying no. You guys think it was just one person? All right, let's keep watching. We're almost done here.
Any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
You don't know how this happened without the other 2 roommates hearing it or waking up or anything?
We do not. One more question.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. In the press release yesterday, you confirmed that the victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the home. Can you say which of the victims were found where?
I'm not going to go ahead and disclose that information. They were found on the 2nd and 3rd floor. And that's as far as we're going to go with that part of the investigation too, because all those key pieces do come to play later. So we do thank you. We thank you for meeting with us. We thank you for helping get information out. And I can assure you, we will continue to work hard. We will continue to do everything we can to solve this. So thank you.
He's like, I'm ready to be done with this. Hurry the hell up. No, and Anonymous says, stop asking them to release a 911 call when they said they would risk. I mean, no, I get that. I said, I hope that they do at some point. Obviously, we don't want to risk anybody's life, definitely would have to be careful with that. The call log for the 911 call is still up. And okay, perfect. We don't want to risk anybody's life. Where? Everybody's asking where this call log is at. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Is it on Reddit? Is that where people can find this? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Yes, one person knew exactly where they were and who was there. It's a lot. Mom says Jack was in the college area. JJ says one person, college age, being away from parents, first time kids can do what they want. This guy wants to kill, and he did. The number 2 on the first, but law enforcement believe it's only one person due to how they killed and found. Right, Mama? She's over here making noises like, do you have an opinion about this? Or she's having some yogurt melts, yo. These yogurt melts are the bomb for her. That was change for me. This person went through multiple floors. A specific target, to me, would have gone directly to them, in my opinion. Ooh. Right? Anonymous says, if releasing the call would risk someone's life, is likely someone new. No, and that's a good point. And what I'm saying is, Anonymous, is we don't know. Obviously, they will need to clear that before they release any calls. That's my commentary on that. We don't want to risk anybody's life, right? Multiple stabbings of 4 is very it's a very psychotic act. I mean, it's rare to have 2 psychopaths at the same time in the crime scene. Not in the movies, though. Not in the movies, yo. Not in the movies. Whoever did it, they got 4 bodies likely. That person's gonna get the death penalty for life imprisonment. I mean, I just hope that they do something about this. I really hope that they have a lot of resources. And so let's hope that they got the right person together. Hopefully they'll have a confession. But I have a feeling that they already have somebody. Okay. They already have somebody. Everybody's talking about the yogurt melts. The yogurt melts. Yes. I'm not being sponsored by these guys. Otherwise, I talk about them. Yogurt melts. Okay. They're Gerber yogurt melts. She loves them. Okay. Right, Mama? Do you love them? Yeah. She says yes. She says yes. She is the CEO of the channel. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to head out. I want to thank everybody for talking to me and just taking this information a little bit, just processing it with me, clarifying this whole serial killer definition that we have to be a little bit careful. This is why I put a question mark on my thumbnail. I know other people are calling it. It's okay to make comparisons. I think that's what behavioral analysis would do. They would compare types of crimes and put their data together and figure out like, well, what pattern does this look like? What vibes does this give you, right? Like that's an important thing to do. But I want to thank everybody. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Yes. And shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining me. I might go live later. I want to talk about the Shanquella situation a little bit more. Yo, we had an interesting live yesterday. If you missed it, you got to go watch it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. He's live right now. Yeah, you guys go check Ikmil. I don't know how he directs people to the live, but if you guys can go, if he's live, go check Ikmil. Drop some rabbits on the chat. Let them know that I sent you over there. All right, guys, I got to head out. Baby Bunny's driving me crazy. Rabbits out, guys.